Get Business Credit YouTube channel is about to go live on YouTube Cast to answer all your business credit building questions. Our host, Joshua Van Horn, is here for you during these tough times. But together, as we unite as one, we will get through this and build and rebuild business credit. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if you haven't already done so. Josh is about to take YouTube by storm, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Just wait. The host of Get Business Credit YouTube channel is about to go live on YouTube Cast to answer all your business credit building questions. Our host, Joshua Van Horn, is here for you during these tough times. But together, as we unite as one, we will get through this and build and rebuild business credit. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if you haven't already done so. Josh is about to take YouTube by storm, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Just wait. The host of Get Business Credit YouTube channel is about to go live on YouTube Cast to answer all your business credit building questions. Our host, Joshua Van Horn, is here for you during these tough times. But together, as we unite as one, we will get through this and build and rebuild business credit. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if you haven't already done so. Josh is about to take YouTube by storm, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Just wait. The host of Get Business Credit YouTube channel is about to go live on YouTube Cast to answer all your business credit building questions. Our host, Joshua Van Horn, is here for you during these tough times. But together, as we unite as one, we will get through this and build and rebuild business credit. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if you haven't already done so. Josh is about to take YouTube by storm, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Just wait. The host of Get Business Credit YouTube channel is about to go live on YouTube Cast to answer all your business credit building questions. Our host, Joshua Van Horn, is here for you during these tough times. But together, as we unite as one, we will get through this and build and rebuild business credit. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if you haven't already done so. Josh is about to take YouTube by storm, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Just wait. The host of Get Business Credit YouTube channel is about to go live on YouTube Cast to answer all your business credit building questions. Our host, Joshua Van Horn, is here for you during these tough times. But together, as we unite as one, we will get through this and build and rebuild business credit. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if you haven't already done so. Josh is about to take YouTube by storm, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Just wait. The host of Get Business Credit YouTube channel is about to go live on YouTube Cast to answer all your business credit building questions.
What is up, everybody? You guys here? Sorry for the background. I just moved to a new location. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys put a thumbs up, or number one, if you guys can hear me okay, or if I need to increase the volume? I just moved to a new location about a month ago. That's why I haven't recorded recently. Let's see here. I'm going through the comments real quick. Fatmath, I got your call earlier. I'm going to get back to you. Seems like I have a lot of my mentorship students here. You guys, thanks for tuning in, because this live is the first live that I've ever done in history where I'm going to break down so many levels of business credit and kind of explain a few things that I've never really explained before, and kind of go over some strategies. Doesn't matter if you're in my one-on-one business credit mentorship or you're just a viewer or subscriber. It really doesn't matter. Let me adjust the camera here. But honestly, guys, this live is something that you guys don't want to miss. So if you're not serious about building business credit, possibly getting millions in business credit, and 50-60% of that being no personal guarantee, then just exit now. If you're just going to stay here for just a couple of minutes and you don't have time, the replay will be available, and I will re-release it probably tomorrow or the next day, but it's not going to be available right when we end. So just keep that in mind. Let me see here. Fatmouth, I have I don't want to butcher your name, but I'm just going to tell you real quick. I'm going to get to you right when we get off this live stream. It could take 20 minutes or it could be an hour. I don't know. I'm going to break down so much to you guys and show you guys some of the recent approvals in the last 3 to 4 months, what my students have got. And I'm going to show you guys proof. Don't you guys like when there's proof in the pudding? You know, there's other channels out there that talk about business credit, but they don't actually show proof. They don't show, you know, Centurion Black invite only from American Express. Of course, that takes good personal credit. However, if you have bad personal credit, it's okay. Are you going to get as much as you would having good personal credit? No, but I can tell you from experience with students of mine, especially the ones in the last 6 months or so that joined my mentorship, you know, I'm very picky on who I accept for my mentorship. That's why I have to do like a 20-minute to 60-minute phone consultation before I will kind of give you an idea if I will accept you or not. There's a reason why I've had over 400 students in the past 4 years of starting the YouTube channel, and I've never had a negative review. Have I had some students be kind of, I don't want to say pissed, but not 100% happy? Yeah. But there's reasons for that. You know, you trying to see how I can word this. Basically, if you tell me one thing on a phone consultation, for any of you guys that want to join my mentorship, if you're going to tell me something on the consultation, and then I tell you what I think I can get you or help you get, and then after you join, and then a week later, you tell me, oh, Josh, I forgot to tell you, I have 3 charge-offs or bankruptcy or unpaid cell phone bill that's reporting on my Experian business credit, then that's a problem. It's best to be upfront with me during the consultation so I can be transparent and tell you what I think the outcome is going to be during the mentorship. Is business credit an overnight situation that you're going to get where you're going to get 6 figures, 7 figures in business credit if you have bad or good personal credit? No, it's not going to happen. And for anybody that is out there telling you that you can get so much business credit by getting 80 Paydex score, I want all you guys to think about Paydex score and Dun & Bradstreet. Get it out of your mind. I can tell you that right now. It almost gets to the point where I do 10, 15 consultations a day. And I would say 90% of those consultations, potential students are telling me, oh, I have 80, 90 Paydex score. I have Experian 90 Intel score. The scores don't mean anything at all. They don't mean anything. I'm the only one endorsed by Experian Business Credit. That is the bureau that matters the most if you're trying to get MasterCards, Visas, draw lines, revolving lines, PG or no PG. It doesn't matter. All financial underwriters, 99% of them will only be polling as their primary decision factor, will be polling Experian Business Credit. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth, what you have to do. We're going to go over all that. So I put together this slide. I've been working on it for about 2 weeks now. It's not that much, but just kind of want to give you guys a little bit of history too, for those that don't know me. But if you look here, this image I put up there, not to brag or anything, but prior to starting a YouTube channel by mistake. This was not something I wanted to do, and since 2019, I was semi-retired from exiting out of my company in 2017. After that, about 2 months later, after I lost my father, I was diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's disease. But during kind of that time, I've always been, an entrepreneur for the last 20 years. But if you can see here, I know I look a lot younger in that picture and gained weight. But I was in Times Square at the NASDAQ building for about 3 weeks, constant rotation on the Jumbotron there. This is a real picture by NASDAQ that got snapped. So that was my old company, Press Web Media. I didn't start the company. I got it basically headhunted to come in, clean up, save the company a lot of money, millions, about $10 million in a matter of 3 months, saved the company. But that has nothing to do with business credit. I just want to kind of show you guys that education is important, but not a 4-year or 6-year degree, depending on the field. Of course, specialized fields, medical, things like that, you have to go to college. But like myself, I'm a high school dropout, and I have no problem admitting that. Dropped out in 9th grade, got my GED, and was I always successful? No. But I grinded and I started several different businesses. Kind of fast forward, going through the grunt work, 10 years in from, say, early 2000s to 2015, I believe, is when I got headhunted by a NASDAQ-owned company, Press Web Media, owned by NASDAQ. Now it was owned by West Communications. And then that's a whole nother story. I own the company now. But anyways, it's basically press release distribution through Fox, ABC, CW, and affiliates. But that's not why we're here. That's just kind of me wanting to give you guys kind of a background that I never spoke about prior to this. But this live's kind of going to be all over the place. So get your pen and paper out. Get ready to take notes. Let me shut a window here because they're cutting grass outside. I know it's late, but here it's not. Okay. So if any of you guys are looking to get, say, 50, 100, 200, 500,000 in business credit, I can't tell you that will take 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years. I got about 2.4 million in about 16 months. And I don't have my setup all because I just moved to a new office, new location. Hang on a second. You guys, seriously, take it from somebody that actually can show proof. This isn't a sales pitch, more of an inspiration to tell you. I started the YouTube channel, and yes, I had good personal credit. But when I started the YouTube channel, I saw so much bad information being put out there by YouTubers that don't know what they're talking about. They either don't know what they're talking about, or they're just trying to get your money, or they're just reciprocating bad information that was the case, say, 10, 20 years ago when Dun and Bradstreet was important. But I got all of this in a matter of 16 months, probably, I would say. And if you go back to my live videos back when I started the channel, you'll see I started a brand new LLC. because I wanted it to be a completely transparent. It really wouldn't be fair for me to use one of my pre-existing, well-established business credit businesses and start building business credit up and then showing you guys what I want you guys to see. No. I started a brand new LLC, registered it with the state of Ohio, and took the journey with you guys. For those that have been watching me for several years. Did I get approved right away for everything? No. But I proved pretty much every so-called business credit expert wrong on how they say to go after things and get business credit approvals, no PG business credit approvals. Everything comes down to being a strategic method on how you go about building business credit up. Don't blindly just go on YouTube and Facebook groups and get whatever trade line you can. That's why I started the YouTube channel. A friend of mine that I went to high school with, he spent almost $3,000 building his business credit up in the first 6 months, getting all these BS net 30 trade lines. And let me correct myself. Not all net 30 trade lines are bad, but 90% are. And they don't report to any business credit bureaus because business credit is not federally regulated at all. So he spent almost, I think, $2,800 and just had a bunch of like office supplies, packaging tape type trade lines. And then when I looked at his reports, and this is prior to starting the YouTube channel, like in early 2020, he showed me everything. And I'm like, of course, you're not going to get approved for anything. I'm not even the underwriter, but me even looking at the report, it looks like he's manipulating. And if anybody thinks underwriters don't see through that and they just look at scores, that's why you're not getting approved. Business credit scores do not matter. Anybody that hasn't been following me, you can look. I've had the CEOs, the founders, Equifax president, eCredible CEO, a lot of these fintechs I've had on, the founders and the CEOs, more than 20, 30 of them. And me having them on my channel over the years, interview them, they can see through exactly what you're trying to do. And these underwriters do not look at scores. So get the scores out of your head completely. I think even my mentorship students that are here right now, they would probably tell you that that's one of the first things I told them during the consultation calls, that get the scores out of your head. Scores don't matter. You can literally get a perfect score on Experian, Intel score, your financial stability risk score, Dun & Bradstreet Paydex score, your Equifax and Credit Safe score. As long as you get a couple, 3 to 4 net 30 vendor trade lines, that's it. But they're not just any. I would say 70% of the ones that are being promoted out there, well, 90% of the ones that are being promoted, if they have affiliate link and it's a YouTuber promoting it, and there's a fee involved where to get the trade line, such as Summa Office Supplies, don't ever go with them. You're going to get ripped off. They don't report at all to anybody. Red Spectrum, stay away from. They're probably going to contact me for me calling them out. I don't care, though. I've had a lot of students get scammed by these people. Red Spectrum, definitely stay away from. Strategic Network Solutions, Summa Office Supplies, they're owned by the same. When you go to these sites and you see like the whole website is like really focusing on net 30 or business credit, trade line, helping your business credit, stay away from companies like that. They're just going to screw you over. They're selling you stupid ebooks that aren't worthwhile, or they're selling you something you can buy on Amazon for $5 and they're charging you $50. So if you want to get ripped off and not build business credit properly, by all means, go out and do those. But a lot of YouTubers will promote these because they're getting paid $40, $50 for every time that somebody signs up. But look at all my videos. I never promote those. I promoted some of them back when I first started the channel, when they did report to Dun & Bradstreet, when Dun & Bradstreet did matter. But there was so much fraud going on during COVID that Dun & Bradstreet got fined and had a lot of issues. Their stock took a dive. And I would say 2021, Synchrony, Community, Citibank, they kind of dueled polling two bureaus to make no PG business credit approval. Sam's Club, no PG MasterCard, Synchrony. They would pull Dun & Bradstreet as a primary and Experian as a secondary. However, when there's a lot of defaults starting to happen during COVID, end of 2022, they were starting to see a pattern with Dun & Bradstreet. It can be easily manipulated. Experian really cannot be manipulated as far as what's on the trade lines. Can you get like Uline and Granger and stuff? Yeah, you can get those. And Uline's fine to get. They report to Experian. But if you go to uline.com, they've been around for, I don't even know how long, but 50 years or more, I think. But look on their site if you see anything about net 30. They don't talk more than like one or two sentences about a net 30, and you actually have to look for it. But if you just go to uline.com, you're not going to see anywhere on the homepage talking about net 30 or business credit. You're not going to see it until you register, you create an account, and you go to checkout. Then it'll give you an invoice option. Uline doesn't want to deal with people that are just trying to get a trade line out of them. You know, it's cost them more money than what it's worth to service it. So, and I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but like I said, the replay will be available. But if you just take this advice and kind of read through what I'm saying, reorganize it, you will be successful. It doesn't matter if you're a mentorship student of mine or you join my mentorship or not. It doesn't matter. Just take this advice. Okay. And I'll get back to that here in a minute on all those points. But I kind of want to show you guys first a little bit of proof of my recent students, because like the thumbnail said, I'm not into clickbait or anything like that. That's why there's other channels that have 100,000, 200,000 subscribers, but they do a lot of clickbait. No social security number required, or no PG, 50,000 for everybody. New business is okay. All that, you know. And once you watch the video, it's like, this is completely BS, you know. They just start getting ad revenue. They just want that view. That's it. So first, let me go over to some actual, like, I don't want to say proof, but in my client portal and text messages and stuff like that. So let's go over to that real quick, and then I'll go over the what I wrote here. But let's get over to so for those that don't know, that I'm the only one on YouTube or online and that I know of that is publicly endorsed by Experian Business Credit. Experian Information Solutions LLC is separate than Experian Personal, right? But like one of the reasons that other YouTubers that also talk about business credit really don't ever talk about me is because they know, you know, what I'm saying. You could take it to the bank. I know what I'm talking about. That's one of the gift but curse with having ADHD. When you study something, it's like you study something for 30 minutes and next thing you know it, you spent 8 hours studying it. And that's a repeat daily habit with me, especially for the last 4 years when I started the channel. But prior to that, I built up business credit for 6 different businesses of mine. S Corp, C Corps, and LLCs for my own businesses that I've either still have or I sold. And just by me being honest and teaching on YouTube with no motives, because I didn't offer mentorship when I started the channel. The only reason I started offering the mentorship is because about a year into starting the channel, so many viewers would tell me, hey, can you do this one-on-one coaching or whatever? And it was just such a high demand, and I can only take on so many at that time. At one point in time, I had 700 people waiting list to join the mentorship, but there's a lot of people just trying to screw over the underwriters. And you can see in 2021, there was a lot more no PG credit lines available for businesses and new business owners. However, the bad apples, the fraudulent, the scammers, and I'm sure there's some watching this right now. In fact, I would say probably 40 or 50% of the viewers, I don't want to say subscribers, but just viewers are probably either one lurking to take my information and make a video. 1 or 2 days from now, you'll see other YouTube channels turning my content into their own content. And then others that will try to take advantage of, I don't want to say loopholes, but weakness spots within certain underwriters. Since 2021, underwriters have, got better about fixing the vulnerable spots within applications for business credit. But the traditional ones like Synchrony and others, it really comes down to just knowing what to have on the application. Of course, you can't have no trade lines and no business credit history, but a lot comes down to get an automated approval, automated no PG approval, say Lowe's, Sam's Club, those. A lot of it comes down to what you put on the application to not trigger a manual review, And when you have literally every video of mine, over 400 videos, I have my email address on every video in the description, along with over 400 students. I can compile all the decline letters and all the approvals. When you can combine all that data for, say, Sam's Club, no PG, Business MasterCard, I take the time to cross-reference everything. And you can start to see a pattern and an algorithm pattern, I should say, on what it takes to get approved. So some business credit lines, such as Sam's Club, no PG, MasterCard, Lowe's, Home Depot, the only revolving no PG business revolving gas card, ConocoPhillips 7666, Floor and Decor, like those are all Synchrony. And then they have one that's an actual credit line to get on Alibaba to import merchandise from, say, China. A lot of that comes down to just knowing the application on what is actually needed to put there. Am I saying lie? No, but use things to your advantage. Now, am I going to tell you what to put in those applications in certain fields? No, I don't publicly tell you, because again, there's a lot of scammers out there and people start LLCs just to get money. And then they default. They never pay back ever after they just get the credit line. So I no longer put any strategic methods out there. I only do that for my one-on-one mentorship students. And even my mentorship students, I don't even tell them exactly every little detail until I feel they're ready. I'm not going to have you apply for something if you're not ready. But anyways, let's get over this. I'll kind of stop rambling, and I'll ramble again after I go through this presentation. But please, you guys get your pens and papers out, because I'm going to go through here after I show you some approvals. I'm going to go over the slide presentation, and it's kind of like you're in college. I want you guys to kind of really listen to what I'm going to say. And if you read between the lines, doesn't matter if you're going to join my mentorship or you're going to do it on your own. It doesn't matter. It's the best advice you can get if you want to be successful with building business credit, and do it the fastest way possible. Okay. But you can see here, this is like one of my videos I put out in 2022. Experian commented, "Great video, Josh. Like the new format, very clearly present." And then Experian Business Credit, self-reporting trade lines. "Thanks for creating this content, Joshua." And then the vice president reached out to me after that, and then we did a few interviews and stuff. But I'm all about showing proof. Other people, they get 3 or 4 cards or whatever, and then they think they're a business credit expert, and they start a YouTube channel, and then they regurgitate the same information that I'm trying to stop people from putting out there, like 3 trade lines, 80 Paydex score, Dun & Bradstreet. Unless you're trying to get cardboard boxes and packaging tape or manufacturing credit lines, factory credit lines, say you're a distributor or something, then yes, Dun & Bradstreet is used by those type of underwriters. But if you're trying to get no PG auto loans, equipment leasing, equipment financing, revolving lines, business credit cards, draw lines, MasterCards, Visa, store cards, a lot of that's no PG even. If you're trying to get those, you want to focus the most on Experian Business Credit. Even the government, SBA loans, they're all pulling Experian. Now, am I saying neglect Dun & Bradstreet altogether? No. Everybody's situation is different depending on what your goals are. But if you're trying to get funding, then that's what we go over on the consultation call. So I never said this, but you guys look below, 937-423-9954. Text me now, day or night. It will come in the order they're received. And we can do a consultation even after this live stream, depending on, time zones. I'll be up for probably 3 or 4 more hours. But anyways, just look at this real quick. This is just since April 1st, my students, okay? And I covered their name because a lot of them don't want, some of the students here actually watching right now, you can probably see your business name that I covered up. That's why you can see I didn't cover everything up, but showed the date, the funded amount, and part of the business name. But you can see it combines total $794,000. Is it like millions? No. But this is just a loan. These are just from one underwriter that is not publicly known, that I have some of my students go after if I feel they're ready, if they just need some quick capital. Are all these no PG? No, some are going to be PG. But PG doesn't mean it's going to be reporting on your personal credit. There's 2 misconceptions about business credit, and it's kind of a headache to keep repeating this, but anybody thinks that on a business credit application, Lowe's card or whatever, that it's asked for the owner's social security number. And then people contact me, "Oh, you said it's no PG. They're asking for my social security number. I'm not going to give my social security number. It's PG." You guys stop thinking that, okay? Such a bad myth that these so-called business credit experts don't know what the heck they're talking about. By federal law, since the Patriot Act after 9/11, the owner's social security number will always be required for 99% of anything on business credit, period. Is it required for a Uline Net 30? No. But if you want to get a MasterCard, like a gas card or anything that would facilitate you to create any type of terrorism, even like Lowe's or whatever, I don't know what you would buy, but all that's going to require the owner's social security number. Does it mean because you have a 550 personal FICO score that you're going to get denied? No. they're not even checking your personal credit. Some will, depending on which one that you're going after. But one thing you guys have to understand is if you guys go right now and try to apply for the Lowe's No PG Net 55 business credit line, when you hit submit on that application, do you think they're going to check your personal credit, even you're putting your social in there? Do you realize how expensive that is for Synchrony, the underwriter, to check your personal credit? Imagine how many applications they get. How much does it cost you to pull your own personal credit? $20, $30 a month for, one refresh on, say, Experian or Tri-Bureau? Even I know because I'm a data furnisher to Equifax and Credit Safe. And my other business, I could pull on personal credit as well. But even on mass volume companies that buy a block of, say, 5,000 personal credit pulls a month, they're still paying like $8 for every time they pull personal credit. So a lot of times they're going to use secondary bureaus, but the reason they're asking for the social security number is to check with LexisNexis, and they're paying like 10 cents to verify that you have a driver's license or state ID, that you're a legitimate real person and you're not some fake name person. So it's all comes down to identity check. It's not credit. So just get that out of your head completely. If it says a social security number, it's not going to be a PG unless it says. Now, a lot of people don't realize this and they always skip it. And I don't blame people so much for this, but the small terms and condition right above hitting submit on personal credit cards or business credit cards or bank accounts, anything. You see that small part or the terms and conditions that everyone just kind of scrolls through. They don't read that small fine print. That's where you're going to find out if it's not clear and present that it's going to be PG or no PG. All you have to do is literally on your computer, when you're doing the application, put Control F. So that's going to pull up find for you. And then type in personal guarantee. And it's going to highlight in that terms and condition if it says anything about personal guarantee. If it can't be found in there, then it's not going to be a personal guarantee. But nine out of 10 times, it's going to tell you if it's a personal guarantee up front in the application without looking through the terms and conditions. But there are some that can be sneaky on wording. So in the terms and condition, you just can Control F and then type in personal guarantee and then hit next. And it's going to show you Windows, or I don't know about Apple, but you can just Control find and then look where it says personal guarantee. So these are things to just look for. You don't have to read all that tiny print because it's all a lot of legalities things. But I just want you guys to know, just because it asks for your social doesn't mean it's personally guaranteed. Now, I haven't had like negative reviews, but I've had like one or two students that weren't happy with the mentorship because they knew all this like going into the mentorship during the consultation, but then I have them apply for things in the client portal that I have, and then they send me texts and emails, call me, Josh, it's asking for my social. I don't want my social. I don't want my credit pulled at all. I don't want to personally guarantee anything. And that's not because they have bad credit. It's because some may have bad credit, but the majority of them, they just don't want their personal credit touched. And sometimes it's hard to change people that are set in their own ways, especially the older people. I'm almost 45, but I've had students from 18 to 80 years old. 81 is my oldest student. But the ones I typically will tend to have a problem with are 65 plus, that they're just stuck in their mind. They watch some other videos and the bad videos that are not experts on business credit, and they're just set in their mind. And no matter what I say, They're like, I'm not going to put my social on anything. Okay, then just get Uline and get those trash net 30 vendors that won't ever report, and you can't build business credit. I'll give you a refund. I don't care. Just trust the process. But anyways, so yeah, this is just one underwriter right here. Okay. And they offer a variety of different types of loans. They're not major loans, but they're more made anywhere from like 90 days to 12-month loans. The higher ones could be like, say, 30 or 50, 40, 58,000. The higher they are, sometimes those are more longer term loans, like up to 24 months. But I would say a majority of them range payback terms anywhere from, say, 90 days to 6 months, or especially for the ones that are like 10,000 or less, and those are just kind of just to help fund operations, maybe payroll or something. But that's just one avenue. Okay. I'm going to show you more. And then this other one is deals funded. Only 6 deals through this particular underwriter and 74,000. What's nice about this underwriter is they don't care about your personal credit score. Some of these got approved having a 520 FICO score, but it does take where you need to show at least like $2,100 a month. Gross revenue coming into your business bank account, not profit, gross revenue. Okay. And your personal credit's not checked. I don't want to say it's not checked for this underwriter. They do check it. But just because if you have a few negatives, that's not going to dictate 100% if you're going to get approved or denied. It's really more so to see if you have like a bankruptcy and 20 recent late payments. But if you have a few blemishes that aren't so recent, then it's not a big deal. Especially if you're showing legitimate business and you have some funds coming in. But what's nice about this underwriter, and I think it's in the link in the description below, it's Get Loot. The link's there. Use that link because if you do want to try to get funding, it's no hard pull, anything like that. And they have 2 different types where it's like weekly, biweekly, monthly, and a draw loan, a line of credit. So if, say, they give you 25,000 approval, then it could be like you got 25,000, you only need 5,000 right now. So you could just draw 5,000 and you're only to pay financing and terms from 6 months to 12 months payback repayment for that 5,000 that you actually took. And you'll just pay a monthly payment. Financing fees, the points typically are going to be from them anywhere from like 7% up to like 14%. There's many variables, but even if you have good business credit, this is another point I want to make. Even if you have good business credit and you're well established, say 5 years, and you're doing, say, 100,000 a month or whatever, and you have 800 personal FICO score, I would challenge anybody that feels they're in that situation to go to Chase or go to anybody or any underwriter and try to get a business loan, with exception to SBA loans, but try to get any type of longer term business loan that's going to be under 10%. Like, people think just because you have a 4% or 6% APR personal credit card, that just because you have good credit, you're going to be able to get that on the business side. No, business is completely different. If you have if everything's working against you, then you're probably going to pay 20 to 40% for that business loan. But if everything's perfect and you're well established and good personal credit, they do a soft pull, all that, you'd be lucky to even get 10%. You're probably still going to be around 12 to 18%. Business loans are expensive regardless because they're higher risk. Even if they're personally guaranteeing, they're still high risk for the underwriter. Let me explain why. Say you have LLC, you get a business loan, even if it's a high interest loan, even if it's personally guaranteeing, even a merchant cash advance or whatever, if you default, it still takes them about 3 years before it's ever going to go on your personal credit. Like if you default, I'm not telling you to do that, but even when you personally guarantee, it takes a long time. There's a lot of legality process before it's ever going to get to your personal credit, even for personal guaranteeing. Okay. So there's a lot of legal channels involved for things to go from business credit to personal credit, even if it's personal guaranteeing. Like this is little screenshots I put together. That's active students I have in my client portal right now. I think I have 50. I had 56, but then a couple just ended from their 16-week mentorship ended and their 12-week mentorship just ended. So I have 8 or 9 spots still available. It's first come, first serve, but it's not just if you pay me, you're going to get, I'm going to approve you. That's not how it works. I'll tell you, out of 10 people that contact me and I do consultations with 10 different people on the phone, I would say I'd be lucky to be able to accept and approve 1 or even 2. Sometimes I'll have 20 consultation calls in 1 week and I can only accept 1 just because the goals have to be aligned. If you try to call me and say, hey, I want 100,000 in the next month or 2, it doesn't really matter what your situation is. I'm not saying that's not possible. I have some students I'll show you here that got 100,000 in the first week of the mentorship, but that's not like super common. There's so many factors involved. But if you're just trying to get quick cash, I'm not the guy for you. And you won't find anybody that's going to help you do that, honestly. And you're going to have a tough time even getting that, period. That's not how things work, especially if you're new or even established business. If you don't have all these ducks in order that I'm going to get into in a moment, rich filmographic data, a lot of these steps that are skipped, Better Business Bureau, Show Me Local Merchant Circle, get listed, all these secondary databases are so important, especially for manual underwriting. And there's algorithms that are being implemented because of AI. I actually filed a patent last year for business credit. I can't disclose too many details, but it's basically an algorithm that underwriters will be licensing from me using an API key, and it's going to go into their fintech algorithm on approval. Okay, you pass business credit check, everything's good on that. They want to minimize their risk, right? So because of everything I've been able to kind of compile and know what these underwriters are manually looking at, I took the manual process and put it into software architect. And by next year, we already have beta testers, but by next year, a lot of these business credit underwriters, especially the fintechs, will be licensing the technology from me. And a lot of it comes down to making sure that they're lowering their risk because, like I said, business credit and credit scores can be easily manipulated. So everything can look great on the picture and everything, but there might be something that looks a little fishy. So that's where I've been able to kind of build architect where instead of them taking 15 minutes to manually look for these things, I put it into a 30-second process that their algorithm can just check, and based on those parameters will be a yes or no. So one thing I can tell you without telling you guys too much, potential students I could tell over the phone, but not on here. But one thing I can tell all of you guys to do, regardless, get listed on reputable online directories. They're free. If the ones that are trying to charge you something or charge a fee, or you fill something out, say on Bing or Bing Local or Google Local, and then after you hit submit, you claim your listing, and then the next day later you get these spam calls, ignore them. They can say, oh, we're part of this or part of Google search engine or something. No, they're just trying to sell you BS services. Just say you want to claim the free listing, that's it. and never pay them anything. But you need to actually be listed on these different authority directories. Google, Bing, Better Business Bureau, Yelp, Yahoo Local, chamberofcommerce.org, Easy Local, Merchant Circle, Yellow Pages. There's so many of them out there. Yaks. There's really only about 20 that you should focus on. And they're all free. They just take about 5 minutes of your time. And some of them you actually have to verify by either phone or documents or your domain, your business email. Sometimes they'll send a postcard in the mail with a pen. Even if it's going to a Opus location, it's fine. But the harder it is to get your listing verified, that's the more authority and trust goes into your actual business. Now you guys are thinking, I'm not trying to get SEO or internet marketing. No, but these underwriters are implementing this. I can tell you that firsthand, and I helped build the architect for it. That's going to be a major factor. It's already a major factor now, and it has been for several years, but it was all a manual process. So just take that advice. It takes 5 minutes to do it, especially with ChatGPT. Make unique descriptions on Yelp and Yahoo. It gets even your own pictures for your business. If you don't have pictures and you can't get pictures, use some stock images, but don't get ones off Google Images. But just think of yourself as an underwriter. And then if they're manually checking your business, putting your business name, ABC Plumbing, LLC, what are they going to likely look at when they're doing a Google search? Because I can tell you, every fintech, 100%, Divvy, Ramp, Pago, Clear, all of them, all the no PG fintechs. That's why you will never get instant approvals, because when you hit submit, all those automated checks, your business credit, personal credit, soft pull, all those checks are already automated and done. But then they're going to do manual checks because it's no personal guarantee. So they're going to check and make sure that you're not trying to manipulate the system, because these underwriters know there's ways to manipulate the system, and they're not in the business to losing money. So you just have to position yourself correctly. But literally, anything it takes is like 1 to 2 hours of your time per week. Like, that's all my students need to spend. And if you're fast on the computer, you can do all these things literally in 30 minutes to an hour a week. And that's a mix of applications, approvals, credit applications, and building up your rich filmographic data. You need to have a good presentation. And I'm not saying documents and business plan. Those are worthless too. For those that say, get business plans, YouTubers that talk about getting business plans to get funding. This isn't 1986. That's how it worked at mom and pop banks, where you're talking to the branch manager, and the branch manager is like the daughter of the owner of the bank. Yeah, you needed business plans back then. Now it's so automated where none of that stuff matters. They don't have the time to look at your business plan and what you think or hope you're going to do with your business. They don't care about that. It comes down to just a few factors. That's all it is. And if you understand these factors, and with like my knowledge, you can kind of, I don't want to say manipulate, but you can kind of make the system work for you to your advantage, leverage it strategically. Not put something in the application that's going to trigger an instant denial. Because a lot of times on these applications, I see it all the time. People try to put, like, for Best Buy or Lowe's, they immediately think they got a good or business credit score, and then they put it says how much is going to be your monthly spend, and they got bad advice saying, oh, you want to get a high trade line or whatever. So they put $10,000-$20,000 for their monthly spend, and then they get the instant 7 to 10 day message, and then they get denied. But if they just would have put 3,500 and listened to me, they would have got instant approval. And then 30 days later, you do the reconsideration line credit department and say, hey, 3,500 is not really enough for me. Can we bump that up to 7,000? And you can do that every like couple months and literally turn a Lowe's 3,500 credit line into 12, 15,000 in a matter of 6 months or so. And why I always preach about Lowe's is because it's a stepping stone to get that no PG business MasterCard by Sam's Club. Because that's really the only true revolving no PG business revolving credit card out there with a very high limit where you can get like up to 30,000. But you're not just going to get that without getting in, building up that interbanking relationship. You're going to have a much higher chance to get a good starting limit for an OPG business MasterCard by Sam's Club if you already build a relationship up with Synchrony. Not on the personal side, because that doesn't matter. Personal side doesn't even matter if you have Synchrony cards. That's not going to help or hurt you. I have students that actually owe Synchrony money for, say, a Lowe's personal store card. And then they turn around and get approved for, $5,000 Lowe's card, on the business side. So it's two separate divisions. Again, I can't stress it enough. There's so many things that come down to what's in the application. When you put certain things in the application, it will help you either trigger an automated approval or have a better chance to actually get approval, even if you have to get on the phone and do a verification. You could get a reference code and then you need to call. And I put that in my mentorship. When I tell you to apply for, say, Lowe's, if I think you can get approved, I'm telling you and I'm giving you the number. They don't give you the number, but I give you the actual number. You're not going to find that number anywhere, but I'll give you the number. Hey, if you jot down your reference number and you get that 7 to 10 day message, call this number. And I kind of tell you the verbiage in the task. I tell you the verbiage of what to say, because it just says, we'll let you know by mail. No, that's not good enough. Call this number that I give you and use the verbiage that I put within the task, and then use the certain wording. And then 9 out of 10 times I get the message from my students, Josh, I got approved. So let's go through these real quick. This is a student. He tagged me approved for 5K. These are all just different random no PG credit lines. Some could be MasterCards, Visas, gas cards, store cards, just kind of a mix. Lucas, 10,000, 4,000 here. Stanley, 3,500, no PG. And just to remind you guys, I don't have even one student right now that I have do any PG. The only time we get into PG is when you're trying to get massive, like single loans, like a long-term $200,000 loan that's going to be a 5-year term or something. That's when it's going to be a personal guarantee where it's going to affect your personal credit. But I can't tell you when the last time any of my students actually had their personal credit pulled as a hard pull. There are some that are going to be a soft pull, but I'm going to tell you what it is. If it's going to be a soft pull, you're going to be well formed of that, because I don't want you to apply if it's going to be a soft pull and say you have your Experian business or Experian personal credit locked. That could trigger a instant denial, and they're not going to waste their time telling you to unlock your personal credit. But if you unlock it, like I'm going to tell you, if you have it frozen or whatever, then unlock it. This is who they're going to check. Okay. And that's going to be only soft pulls, not hard pulls. And I'll get to all you guys' comments here in a minute. I just saw at the bottom there, Game Master said, I just need less hard pulls. Well, like I said, out of 50 current students that I have right now for this year, each of them probably applied for anywhere from 15 to 30 applications. I can't say even out of like all those have I even got one hard pull. So hard pulls are not something that I have any of my students go after. There's no reason to do that, especially infancy stages. You only do that when you're trying to get like literally huge single loans that are going to be like flex loans. Say you're getting a $250,000 credit line loan that's say going to be a $2,000 monthly payment that's spread over say 10 years or something. Those type of loans, then you're going to get a hard pull because it kind of works the same as like a mortgage in a sense, but it's not going to report on your personal credit. But any hard pulls that you get on the business side, even if you get denied or approved, you could still get those inquiries removed using certain legalities, depending on what it is and who it's from. And that's where all these things come in handy if you're, one-on-one student of mine, because there's, like I said, so many fraudsters out there that watch my content and they're looking for these loopholes, so I'm not going to put out, all the exact strategies and everything publicly, because if everybody finds that out publicly, then it's going to be abused. And then 6 months from now, most of those strategies and methods that I use, like bought 3 houses in 2022 using 5 business gas cards, liquidated 3 business gas cards that can only be used for gas, but I was still able to liquidate them, buy 3 duplexes. They were rehab properties, 22,000 to 30,000 each, but I was able to liquidate 5 business gas cards. Initially 3 business gas cards to the same underwriter, and then a month later those had to be paid back. So then I liquidated 2 of the higher limit through the same underwriter, just different brands, to pay them back basically with their own money. And the most it cost me was like 4% liquidation fees. But those are all strategies that I teach when I feel my student is ready, if they need to take that option. Now, I would say 75% of my students, they never even have any desire to even go to that level. There's only certain people that want to do that. But it is available to you if it's something you want to do, but not right away. It's something that, 3 months down the line or so, of building up your business credit. So anyways, I'll just kind of run through these. Like Adrian approved $850 weekly spending limit for this one. I think that was a gas card. A to B. Kyla, 10,000 for that one. I think that was also a gas card. And then 50K approval, that was Divvy. Mario, Best Buy 5. John, 100,000, that was Divvy. 75K by John, that was revenued. Angela, I think that was JCPenney's. 500, that's gas card. All right, next one approved around 2K. I think that was Lowe's. But you can see her. I wanted to show you guys this because the date was about 5 weeks prior. She got denied and she said waiting until 30 days to reapply. So then I assigned in the client portal, hey, you are splitting hairs to be approved initially. That's why I assigned it. I'm not going to assign something to you unless I'm 80% confident that you're going to get approved. So I thought she'd be able to get approved, but she got denied. So we got the denial letter, and I figured out, as soon as I saw the denial letter, figured out exactly what was needed. Literally made those adjustments within a week, and she applied 5 weeks later from being denied, and she was approved for like 2,200, I believe. And that's all about building up the interbanking relationship that I'm talking about, the revolving gas card. To get that Sam's Club, not PGA Business MasterCard. You don't need 100 trade lines like everyone talks about. Get 10 solid limit trade lines that you're going to use consistently. And those are going to be like, I'd much rather have 5 trade lines, that credit lines that I'm going to use consistently, that are going to be reported to the right bureaus. That's going to help me. It doesn't matter on the limit. As long as I can use them for my business or whatever, I'd much rather have, say, 5 of those than having 25 trade lines, credit lines, 1,000 here, 500 here, low limit 300, net 30 vendors. and then use them once every year, once every 6 months. That's, if you're trying to do that and you're trying to get as many trade lines as possible, just leave now, because like, I'm not going to be good for you if that's your mindset. That's what everyone talks and teaches, but that's not the correct way. Um, you know, I didn't get all this by doing those methods. Okay. Everything has to be strategic. All right. Um, don't blindly go after, like, it's overcomplicated. Business credit does not have to be that complicated, but all these YouTubers make it complicated, and they try to sugarcoat and polish things to make it seem much more complex and confuse you, where they say one person says one thing and another person says another thing, and they contradict each other. Ask any of them if they can show any proof. Any of them can show is like traditional Chase or Wells Fargo business credit cards, and anybody can get that with a good personal credit score. But that's personally guaranteeing. It has nothing to do with your business. Your business could be earning zero, and you can still get a $40,000 Chase Sapphire business card. It doesn't take rocket science to do that. Anybody can do that. You could be in business one day or 10 years. It doesn't matter. And then they confuse about the whole no PG and EIN only and all that. You can do that, but that's what I teach is don't have all that liability on yourself. Now, if you want to get into the millions, yes, you're going to have to personally guarantee. But I have a lot of students that they don't have the most perfect credit, maybe in the 600s, some in the 500s, but they're working on their personal credit, repairing that themselves or whatever. And don't ever hire any personal credit repair companies. They're all scammers. I'll tell you that right now. They're pretty much all scammers. There's a couple people that I refer people to that are not credit repair companies. They're individuals that do like personal credit repair. They're not the cheapest, but they actually give you results. But credit repair companies, they're all scammers. I can tell you that right now. I was in the credit repair business. I wasn't a scammer, but these companies, that's all they do is scam, milk you a little bit of money, a little bit at a time, and they get one thing off your credit report, and then they just charge you monthly. But anyways, approved for credit line now, approved. 4,000, Bob, Juanica, Mercedes. But see, like at the bottom here, I tell the client to call this number. I have them call that number. I'm telling them to call that to get the approval because they got denied, and they turned around and got approved. And that's why you see here, Bob, the reference number. That's a reference number for the application. And then you see they got approved for 2,500. So they initially got denied. We got the 7 to 10 day message. I gave them the number, the backdoor number, and then they turned around and gave the reference number. They used the verbiage that I told them to use during the call, and then they got approved for 2,500. Same with this number too. It's a different underwriter, but so I think it's the same underwriter. It's just different card division. But anyways, like here, I applied for this one a few months ago. When you assigned it to me, approved for 10,000. Chris applied for this card about a month ago, 9,000. Excuse me. I'll get you guys comments in a minute. I followed Mario followed your directions precisely. And that's the thing with my mentorship. I give you not just me telling you apply for this. No, I give you like a paragraph, sometimes 2 paragraphs, breaking down and telling you why I want you to apply for this. Even you may not think that you need it or you don't have any use for it, but I'm going to tell you why I want you to get it and how you can strategically either liquidate it. I'm going to show you how to liquidate even on a Lowe's card. Can't pull cash off of it, but I'm going to tell you how you can. There's certain ways if you don't mind putting in the extra work. But there's always a purpose why I'm having you apply for something, it's to get to that next step. I'm not going to have you apply for things that I'm not going to have you use. Business credit really comes down to what's on the report on, say, Experian, for instance. like I said, you can have a perfect score. It goes from 0 to 100, the Intel score. You could have 100 or 90 or 80, and that's considered good. And you could have a 1 financial stability risk score. That's the best, 1 out of 5, 5 being the worst. So you could have like 90 on the Intel score, 1 on the financial stability risk score, and have 5 trade lines on there. But they're like U line at 30 vendors or whatever that report, NAB, things like that. And then you're going to get denied. And why you're getting denied is because you only used them like 1 time. You don't have like 90 days of trade history built up. That's what you need. So again, I'm not going to have my students get something that they're not going to be able to use or they have no value in it. I'm going to tell you the trade lines that I think that is going to be best suited for you based on your situation. Every business owner and goals are different. That's why during the consultation call, I go over, what is your short-term goals in the next 60 to 90 days? What is your longer-term goals, 6 months to 12 months? Based on all that information combined, that's how I dictate what I'm going to assign to you to do every week. Every week, I give you custom tasks, and a lot of it's more of a waiting process too. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to be patient, but you can get amazing results, and it can be life-changing for you. And as early as 90 days to 120 days. Like I literally started getting major approvals with the brand new LLC when I started the channel after 2.5 months of building up business credit. But I didn't just apply for anything and everything. I'm not going to get a Sunbelt Rentals $40,000 credit line when I don't have any use. I can't rent a backhoe or a crane or tools like that, construction. But then there's other YouTubers saying, get that. It doesn't even report for one, unless you use it. And even when you use it, it's not going to report until 90 days. And it's reporting to Dun & Bradstreet. For what your goals are, most of you guys probably want no PG auto loans or trucks or financing or funding. Well, that's where you need to focus on credit safe, Experian business credit, and Equifax. Again, I'm not saying neglect Dun & Bradstreet altogether, but just don't put so much energy and effort into it of getting those trade lines, because I can tell you, a lot of people have misconception that like you get one business credit trade line and it's going to report to all the bureaus. Most credit lines only report to one bureau. So if you want to get, say, 9 trade lines, you could get 9 or 10 trade lines. I hear this all the time during consultation calls. Josh, I have 10 trade lines. My business credit's good. And then I pull their business credit, their tri-bureaus, and there's only 1 or 2 on each bureau. And they're like, oh, that's a mistake. No, it's not a mistake. Like even Synchrony, Sam's Club, and the PGA Business MasterCard, that only actually reports to Experian. And then there's Synchrony as the underwriter, same as Sam's Club, but for the Lowe's card, they pull Equifax, not Experian, to make the decision, and then they're reporting to Equifax. So just because the same underwriter doesn't mean that they're going to report to just all Experian or all Equifax. No, their systems are in place, but most all don't report to Dun & Bradstreet, especially nowadays. Like Dun & Bradstreet is like obsolete. That's why Dun & Bradstreet's pushing all these extra products and trying to sell you on self-reporting and all that, because they're losing so much money. But anyways, let's go even forward. All right, let me go through the little presentation real quick, explaining this, and then I'll go through and answer you guys' question, and then do a recap. And I promise I'll make it very quick, going through everything. All right. And I'll put this on the replay you guys can actually download this PDF presentation. So a comprehensive presentation on trends and insights of business credit approvals for 2024, aimed at informing stakeholders for strategic decisions. So I put this together. It took me a lot of time, and this is where you want to actually focus and listen. And it may be over your head. It may take you to watch this replay a couple of times or watch this live do a replay a couple times to really understand it, or you might understand it more later after you start building up business credit. You'll be like, oh, now I know why Josh was talking about that in the live. Okay, so GBC Business Credit, exploring business credit approvals and their implications. So I'll let you guys kind of read this, but I'm just going to cover like points and stuff. But basically, this is data I compiled for the last 5 years, because again, why I'm saying the last 5 years is a lot of YouTubers and information on Google and Facebook groups, they're still in like 2010 mode, and they're putting out content and data points for business credit that like shelf corps. Anybody thinking about shelf corps, don't. If you have a shelf corp, you probably better just start a new business, a new LLC. Shelf corps do not do any beneficial benefit on building business credit. In fact, if you buy a shelf corp with the intent to use it for business credit and you don't pay it back, even if it's no PG, that can hurt you, and you could end up, it could be a criminal charge against you with the intent to defraud. So there's gray lines with shelf corps. Stay away from them. Shelf corps were beneficial for building business credit or getting approvals back like 20 years ago, when there was just Dun & Bradstreet manually. Everything was going through like a yellow pages, but basically everything wasn't online. Credit decisions were based on a monthly book that Dun & Bradstreet would send out to underwriters to make their decision. So back then, yes, shelf corps were, you could kind of use them to get business credit. But now, don't, stay away from them. It's a headache. I'm dealing with a couple students that have those, and they didn't tell me in the consultation call. They signed up for the mentorship, and then find out later it was just shelf corp, and now it's a headache, to fix it. So it's a lot easier to start with a new LLC than using a shelf corp. If you have a shelf corp, depending on what the situation is, I will tell you, after kind of doing a mini audit, I will tell you if it's something that you should proceed with or not. But anyways, so I'll kind of let you guys kind of read that. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, these challenges and operations and opportunities. So the economic indicators and their impact, so that basically comes down to your industry base. If you're in trucking, as a whole, it would be high risk. But then say in Louisiana, it's higher risk for those that are based out of, say, Louisiana, for a couple of different factors. And it's compiled data from, say, Small Business Financial Exchange, Experian Business Credit, Credit Safe, Early Warning Signal Secondary, PayNet, Equifax, and also Dun & Bradstreet. So there's compiled data that's put together, and then the negatives that get reported on business credit if you're in trucking or something. So every industry, it's all kind of compiled data as whole, and that's evaluated that, hey, trucking has a higher default rate for the business credit lines. And that could be a Lowe's card, or it could be a revolving line, anything, or it could be a Chase business card, anything business credit related, industry based. So that's where you get your NAC codes and your SIC codes. That's why you want to be careful on what you choose. If you are in trucking, there's also like a lot of people just want to, if they're doing a trucking business, they just pick, basic NAC codes or industry SIC codes for trucking. But within the same transportation codes, there's like 50, 60 sub codes. So if you get one of those sub narrow codes, it could be lower risk, and that's going to help you get approved. If you pick the, I don't want to say help you get approved, but decrease the high risk chances, it's going to have an adverse effect on you applying for business credit and getting denied, And I'm not going to get into too much of that because I don't want to confuse you guys, but every industry, there's certain industries high risk. We'll get over that in a minute. So, I didn't plan for this live to be as long as it's been. I rambled too much. I should have known I was going to ramble a bit, but I'm going to make another video breaking all this down to make it more in layman's term. I was trying to make this more on for another project as well, kind of breaking down for more corporate business credit. But most of it you guys can understand though. So like this is the current statistics based on credit approvals by industry sector, what I was talking about a little bit ago. So you have 2.35% small business default rate. That's what I was talking about, so the default rate for small business loans, this is just factoring in loans. It's not like store cards or um, any other business credit lines. These are just strictly business loans that would be, say, reported as small business financial exchange, merchant cash advances, funding like that. So indicating stable credit environment, this metric is crucial for lending assessing. So basically what's kind of factoring in, go to the next part and you'll understand this towards the end. 59% financial health of small businesses. Almost 59% of all small businesses are reported to be in fair or poor financial condition, highlighting the financial struggles many face, which could affect credit approvals. So I put that in there to really emphasize that the underwriters are actually looking at most business credit applications. Even if you're established and you look healthy, it's still being kind of reported in their eyes as you're either fair or poor. Even if you're fair and poor, you still can get approved and you're still getting approved. These are more what the underwriter's looking at. And that's kind of what I made this and put this together to make you kind of understand what the underwriter is thinking about and what they're looking at, whether it be automated or manual underwriting. So that's really what this whole video and this whole live's kind of about, is making you guys think outside the box and think about not what other YouTubers and what you read online. Forget about all that. Think about if you're the underwriter, if it's your money, you got $10 million of your own hard-earned money, and then you have a credit company and you're personally looking at everything potentially to be never paid back to you. So you have to look at things as an underwriter's position and their perspective. So when you're going to loan a $10,000 or $5,000, may not sound like a lot for, JP Morgan Chase or Synchrony, but it's actually a lot when over 50% of businesses default. It's very common, especially the no PG. 40% financing needs are met. Only 42% of small businesses having their financing needs met. So there's a big gap of funding opportunities. And that's why there's all these fintechs and no PG, because a lot of this is based on your traditional lending and not the newer technology, fintechs, financial technology, business credit opportunities, companies out there. So again, this goes into more like SBA loans, big business loans, but I felt the need to put it in there for a future project, but I just kind of wanted to do a brief about it. 43% of small businesses applied for loans. Say the year 2019 marked a peak in loan applications for small businesses, 43% actively seeking. So like almost 50% of all businesses. And these are not even talking about the businesses like you guys that are trying to build up business credit. This is just standard businesses, because most people that are like trying to get business funding, they don't even know anything about business credit. They've never looked up how to build business credit. I bet you could talk to 20 different local business owners in your city, wherever you're from, and ask the owner, have they ever built business credit intentionally? I bet you'd be hard pressed to find 1 out of 20 business owners that would even know what the heck you're even talking about, because most people think just business loans and just traditional business credit cards, American Express, that it's all comes down to your personal credit score. So most business owners don't even understand that there's this area where you can get business credit if you actively try to build it up. And there's so much out there. Like I got over 2.4 million in 16 months. Out of that, 60% was no PG. It had no bearing on my personal credit whatsoever. But anyways, I don't want to burn you guys with all this. So like I said, this is for a future video that I'm going to break down this in more detail. but it's not based for everybody. This is going to be more for the bigger businesses and more established. That's why I'm not covering this too much, but this is like what I'm talking about, the industry based. So these are the approval rates, and this is like what I was talking about, where I put up here, explain the baseline. The baseline is going to be your NAT codes and your SIC codes, your industry based codes. So manufacturing gets a higher approval, even though people think it's high risk. It's not actually high risk. Manufacturing, if you have a factory or something, because those type of businesses, they have money coming in because they're offering terms net 30. So they have invoices that are always coming, receivables constantly. Retail as well, because that can be all metric and gauged by credit card swipes. Most people pay with cards, so those can be more stable. Now, retail can be high risk, but it just depends on how long it's been established, what type of business within the retail sector it is. And then services is overall, if you have a business and you're not sure what, like you want to do a little real estate, stay away from saying you're in real estate. Don't use real estate in your business name. Don't use investments. Stay away from that. It's better to put like solutions, like John Solutions, ABC Solutions Services, LLC or whatever, because that's going to be a broad name that you're not going to get tagged with a high risk industry code right away by the bureaus. And then it kind of is like an umbrella. So if I have some students that dabble in real estate and transportation and e-commerce, and they're doing that all under one business, putting all the money in instead of having 3 LLCs. And then it's like 2,000 here, 5,000 coming in here, 6,000 coming in here. No, they're putting it all under one LLC so they can show a higher gross coming in per month and just putting it under a lower risk umbrella. And then down the line, the plan is just to branch them off into their own LLCs, but build up that business credit to show all that gross. That's going to help you get to point A, point B, to possibly get you into $3-4 million in business credit, under 2 years across 3 businesses, if you have multiples, if that's what you're trying to do. And construction, again, that comes down to receivables. Construction can be high risk if you just look at it as a whole under business credit, but industry base. However, depending on the factors, construction, it's big ticket. So home remodel, kitchen remodel, bathroom remodel, that's going to be 5,000 to 20,000 receivables coming in. It's something that underwriters, they can loan out and they can count on that money coming back higher than they could just giving a transportation or a trucking company. Again, this is going over SWOT. So that basically stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Again, this all comes down when I'm telling you guys all this. This is more for you guys to understand what the underwriter is thinking about, how their system works internally, rather it be an algorithm or manual underwriting. All these things are put into place, like what I'm putting here. I know this is kind of fancy and stuff, but this is basically what, when you hit submit on a business credit application, that underwriter, this is what their mentality is based on, rather it be a computer algorithm or manual underwriting. This is what it's based on. So I don't want to bore you with that. That's why I said I'm going to have this for a replay, and you can download this probably tomorrow or the next day, and then you could print it off and kind of study it a little bit more further. Okay, like I put here, keys, strategies to improve your business credit approvals, support and dedication. That's what it comes down to, is being dedicated. If you want to get 500,000 in business credit, I don't want to hear any excuses. You can get that. Just you have to be dedicated weekly doing the tasks, custom tasks that I assign. So this was like from advice to a student that that I gave just recently. So he was already in the mentorship, and then he got done with the mentorship, but then he wanted to extend it, and he had me do another audit and review because it was a couple months since he ended the mentorship. So like I did the audit basic audit, and I put the good news is that your Experian business credit is strong. So most of the no personal guarantee, no PG financial underwriters who primarily pull Experian business reports will view you in a favorable in their underwriting decisions. However, we need to think outside the box and target the right underwriters by leveraging the fintech credit lines that we can get you approved for and that you don't already have. You won't have to pay financing fees. There's no need to pursue high interest rate business loans when we can strategically use new credit lines from fintech companies to help you reach it to the next level. And that's really what it comes down to is if you just get like one fintech $50,000, say, Divvy card, those typically are going to have to pay back 30 days or 60 days. So that's not super helpful for most business owners because they want revolving or longer payback terms. However, if you get like say Row and then say Divvy, there's too many here, but Divvy, say Clear Card, you get these, you get 3 or 4 of them, and then you can basically use one to pay the other, do balance transfers between the one. So essentially, you just get one, and then you get that second one. And even if you only get 2, use one, and then when it comes time for it to be paid back, use the other one to pay back that. So you, use Paul to pay Peter, to pay John, so forth and so on. OPM, use other people's money. And then by doing that, you're actually showing a lot of solid high limit trade lines being reported, and then they're constantly being paid back every 30 days. But it has that image and presentation that you're a super healthy company. But in reality, I don't want to say you're not, but it makes you look a lot bigger and better financially stable than you actually are. But you need to be smart. I have some students that actually get approved and they're going to go crazy and they take their girlfriend out to steakhouse, $400 at a steakhouse in New York City and trying to impress a girl or something. And then they come to me 2 months later and be like, oh, I can't pay this back. Don't use business credit for personal unless it's okay to use it for personal as long as you're paying your company back on time and being able to use that because you want to show usage, but you need to be disciplined about these business credit approvals. It's very easy to get out of control when you start off and you only got 3 or 4 trade lines, you start building those up. And then, with my advice and you do these strategic moves, 6 months down the line, you're like, wow, I have like $180,000 I can just pull out right now. I can have in my bank tomorrow. And then they get kind of impatient and then they make a bad investment in real estate or whatever. And then they don't realize how they can pay that back so quickly and they don't plan ahead. So that's where I see with some of my students, I don't want to say abuse the credit lines, but they're not disciplined enough and they kind of go crazy when they get all these credit lines and approvals and it starts to get out of control for them. So, I stress that out, but I can't tell you how to use your money. I can only help you get approvals. I can't tell you how to run your business, how to invest the credit lines to make them work for you and leverage them to grow your business. Only you know your business, the business you're in. I can't hold your hand about that. I can only help you get the business credit lines. I can't help you any further than that, Just be smart. Don't be stupid, waste money and use it for nonsense. But anyways, that is it on this, but I'll go through the questions now real quick. So if you guys have any final questions, put it in the comment section or in the chat section, and then I will go through those real quick. And I know people are asking how much the mentorship, but I'll cover that here in a minute. We'll go over all that real quick. And I still didn't get to cover everything that I wanted to cover, but I'm going to maybe make another live this weekend or Monday at the latest. But just recap real quick. If anybody is interested in, the one-on-one business credit mentorship, and a free consultation. Just text. You can do it even right now because they're going to be received personally in the order they're received personally by me. 937-423-9954. Just text that you're interested in the consultation or the mentorship, more information, and then we can dial in even possibly tonight for a consultation. Just depends. But regardless, I'm gonna get on the phone with you. It could take anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes or so. I'll answer all your questions, and we'll go from there to see if you'd be a good fit for the mentorship or not. And then it's all done on web-based, where it's all a custom client portal, where I'm going to assign custom tasks to you and assign those to you every week based on what I found after I do the audit on your business credit report. And your goal is finding out what your short and long-term goal is. Then that's going to be dictating what I'm going to have you start doing week 1. And then you need to have constant communication with me. Did you get approved? Did you get denied for this? Based on what happened from, say, week 1 tasks, the outcome of that will dictate what I'm going to assign to you for week 2. And then every week it gets more fine-tuned. The lowest mentorship I have is 12 weeks. It goes up from there: 12, 16, 26, and 52. Majority of my students are on 16 weeks. The pricing, there's different pricing. There's payment plan, and then there's one-time fee. It just depends on your budget. You save a little more when you do a one-time payment. The pricing I can send to you after we do a consultation. I don't put out the pricing until I qualify you. If I qualify you, then I'll put out send you an email with the pricing, and then you can pick what option you want from there and go from there. Let's see here. Robert in the building. He's one of my students. I think some of those approvals, he was there and one of the ones there. Let's see here. Like Nick, he's a current student of mine. Lois is a new student of mine. Some of you guys might be students. I don't even know because based on your names, could be a different YouTube name, Welcome. How you doing? Gregory King, longtime supporter and viewer on here, and been mentoring him a little bit. Definitely sign up for Josh's mentorship. It's worth it. Join the channel, take it from me. It's worth it. Yeah. There's no comparison for my mentorship. It's one-on-one. There's no one-on-one business credit mentorship in existence that I know of besides mine. There's courses, there's Credit Suite, but if you're looking to waste money and pay $1,500, $2,000, now I'm not going to say I'm cheap. I'm not, because I'm the #1 expert on business credit, in my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. However, you pay for what you get. But I'm not into trashing, companies, but like Credit Suite, half my students already paid Credit Suite thousands of dollars, and they're putting out, just basically give you a login course that there's no direction. It's just a bunch of links and tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And the tier system is BS anyways. My very first approvals that I showed even on the channel were so-called tier 3. Tiers, ridiculous. Don't get me started on that. Hey, Greg, thanks for that super chat. I appreciate it. Again, also, you guys, I don't do this for earnings at all. 100% of the channel earnings and the mentorship fees every month or every 2 months, depending on how much comes in, goes to the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. It's near and dear to me. I've been blessed. I'm successful with other businesses that I have that kind of run on autopilot, and here in my office in the Philippines that I have my workers. So my internet marketing company for law firms that I've had ever since 2004, doing SEO on Google for them. So that's how I support my family. This is some passion, and then it's also a way for me to raise money for a cause that's near and dear to me, and that's Parkinson's research. And so far, we've been able to donate just over $500,000 in the past 4 years, and a lot of that's thanks to you guys. Sponsorships, mentorships, and ad revenue. And super chats too. I've had quite a few super chats. I think we did just on super chats in 2022, we did like $9,000 of people just doing super chats during the lives. not all at once, but over a year period of time. So all that definitely does help just get us one step closer to biomarkers and help find a cure for Parkinson's research. And as a lot of you guys may know, I had some brain surgeries back in 2023, deep brain stimulation, and the first two were not successful. The third one was successful. So that's why for like 7 months I wasn't around in 2023. Anyway, so has anyone, welcome, also a long-time viewer, has anyone heard this guy in credit space called Ray Reynolds? No, I've never heard. I get people telling me about all these different people's names more recent, and a lot of them, like I said, they just like think they're an expert and they start channels and they spend a lot of money on marketing, like to make them look big and like they know what they're talking about. But again, there's maybe one or two other channels that can actually show some approvals, but even when they show approvals, it's not that many. And it's easy to show approvals when you have a $500,000 in the bank account. Oh, of course, it's easy to show that you're getting approved left and right. I'm not going to name any names, but there's like one channel that's like that. But try to find channels that actually show like proof, like Centurion Black invite only card, American Express. Of course, that's personally guaranteeing, but it's not easy card to get. But like J.C. Penney's commercial, Navy Federal Biz. I mean, there's just so many here. You guys can look at my old videos if you guys want to see. I've showed all the cards one by one, but just I don't know. It just gives a little bit more credibility when you can actually show approvals than just other YouTubers saying, go to Lowe's, apply for this, get this card, just fill this out. When they're just, a lot of them just take my information and they're shortening it up into like 5-minute video and they don't show anything. And they actually don't tell you the actual things that matter, the actual tiny data points that I'm always talking about. They skip over that because those are the boring things that nobody cares about listening to. But those boring things is what gets you approved. Can't be lazy on building business credit. Big boss. Hey, also, you guys, if you guys are just tuning in, double check and make sure you're subscribed and all notifications are turned on. And can you guys please give the video a thumbs up? I appreciate it. Just helps it get out to a wider audience after we end this live. And I hope you guys found this live so far valuable, even if you just learned a little bit, I promise I'm going to get back into doing more lives, more on a consistent basis. I just moved into a new location, so getting everything kind of dialed in. Let's see here. Hey, Josh, I was able to get my first revolving account. That's the best way to make payments monthly or pay in full. What is the best way to? Well, it depends. Again, like Greg, even if it's a revolving, sometimes you don't. So like with business credit, you don't want to pay everything off, right? So that I have a couple students that they're having this problem getting more approvals because what they're doing is not taking my advice. They got all these, like say 10 different approvals reporting to the business credit bureaus, but every month the bureaus update typically from like the 2nd to the 7th of every month. That's when all data furnishers update everything for the prior month. And a lot of people think you want to pay early and always show zero balance. That's ideal on the personal side. You want to keep utilization low, but a healthy business actually shows balances. So yeah, it may affect your business credit score, but get rid of the credit score out of your mind on business credit scores. Scores actually are more of just like a gauge metric, and they shouldn't be over focused on. I got some of my biggest approvals when my score was technically like fair or poor on the business credit side. My scores were low, right? But I'm getting big approvals. And that's because the report, the trade experiences, it's showing balances. So you do want to show some balances. That's important because if you're showing zero on all of these different trade lines, then it shows you're kind of trying to manipulate the system. And there's red flags put in place with the underwriter to kind of show that. You could go to 100 different businesses, pull 100 different legitimate established businesses, say 10 years or more, and look at their business credit reports, and you'll see that none of them are going to be showing 000 balance on all their credit lines, trade lines being reported. They're all going to be showing balances, or a majority of them will. So that shows like it's a financially stable company. So balances don't hurt on the business credit. They actually help you get approved. Showing balances within reason. If you just have one account, one trade line only, and it's a $30,000 balance, then that can work against you. But if you have like 5 trade lines and 2 of them are showing high balances, that's actually helping you rather than having 5 of them down to, very low balances or 0 balances. So yeah, there's just so many factors. That's why it's hard to put this all in one video or even multiple videos. Like business credit is easy to a certain degree. You don't need to overcomplicate it. But if you really try to dissect things and get to like my level of like how to, I don't want to say, I guess, leverage and make any business credit underwriter like leverage it to, increase your chances of approval, you have to start to understand the algorithm, what they're looking at, and make it work towards you to make sure that process is like automated, like it's checked, it's checked, it's checked, it's checked. Just to avoid manual underwriting as much as possible. You want to avoid manual underwriting. A lot of people, they trigger manual underwriting because of they're too aggressive on applications, on what they're putting on the applications and the amounts. So you kind of have to just milk it strategically. And then you just kind of capitalize on that and just go from there. But solid to build business credit up, you really need to, it doesn't matter if you're established or you're new business, you really need to put at least like 12 weeks into seeing before you're going to see major results. But you can start seeing results quickly, even 4 weeks or so. But to get like game changer type approvals, that's going to be 12 weeks and beyond. Most of my students, they start seeing the best results approvals wise, new and established, around, I would say, week 8 to week 16 is when every week it starts getting better and better because we've dialed everything in. And then after about like the first 6 weeks of the mentorship, it's really foundation and dialing everything in just so you can pass all those manual underwriting checks, you know. So yeah, you can get a lot in business credit and no PG as long as you're willing to put in the work and time. Does it take years? No. Does it take a lot of money? No. But it takes dedication, effort, consistency, weekly. But not very much, just an hour to 2 hours of your time per week. I already did all the hard work. I'm just laying it out. So, if you can't dedicate an hour of your time per week doing these tasks, then, there's probably no hope for you, period. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. As far as like pricing and stuff, I'll get into that. Like I said, after I do consultations, because there's, different things I'm involved in. All right, let's see here. Answer these questions. Game Master, longtime viewer as well, subscriber. I can attest to that. 80 plus Intel score, 800 personal, and still got denials, low approvals. You guys heard it right there. That's somebody else. Game Master. I mean, he's a longtime viewer, but he's never said that before. But you can see he's even saying that, and that's so true. I mean, I hear this constantly, and it's not so much about your personal credit score, and it's not about, I mean, your personal credit score does matter to a certain extent, depending on what level of approvals and limits you want to get. It doesn't hurt on the having good personal credit. However, business credit scores don't matter. Like the fact that they matter is maybe about 10%. That's the factor it comes down to. When you're doing an application, only about 5 to 10% comes down to your score. But the scores are, like I said, it's what's on the report, because it's easy to get a 80 or 90 business credit score, and just by having a whole bunch of, not a whole bunch, but having like 3 packaging trade lines that, $50 zero balance or whatever. It's not very hard, So it's what's on the report, and also the filmographic data that's on the report, key personnel, website address. A lot of people don't think that matters. It does matter. That's called the rich filmographic data that the business credit bureaus don't have, that you must supply to them. You have to do a dispute and give that information to them. And then once they update it, that's going to also help you get increased chances of approval, because that shows you're giving them rich filmographic data. You're supplying them with more information about your business. Therefore, you're a little bit more trustworthy to the underwriter. Hey, Donnie, Victoria, thank you guys. I'm seeing a lot of new faces here. Always a cut the videos and the post. Don't know what you mean. I was rambling. Sorry. That's true. I would look deep too if I was an underwriter. Yeah, exactly. All right. I'll kind of speed this up, you guys. True. I'll talk to the other business owners, and they don't really even want to know or learn until it's too late. And most people that contact me for my mentorship are ones that already failed, and then they're trying to build business credit, and clean up other people's mess. And that's okay, but you have to be dedicated to work with me. I'm not going to do everything for you. I'll do most of the work for you and guide you in the right direction, but you have to put some effort into it too. Broke no more. Your mentorship is way too high for a 9 to 5 p.m. earners. Well, I mean, some, yes, I would say that. But I mean, you pay for what you get. And I would tell you, when I charged a lot less, that's when I had bad students. When I charged 1/3 what I charge now, I had a lot of students, but they weren't very dedicated. Like, it would be like, I have to call weekly and say, hey, what are you doing? Did you do this? I'll get around to it next week. So I've had to increase it to get better quality people that would be willing to invest into their business. Like, I don't know, if you invest more, you're going to take it more serious. So don't waste my time, and I've even discounted, but it just depends. If you're talking 9 to 5 working at McDonald's, then no, probably not. But that's also not an excuse either, because I have students that literally drive DoorDash and Uber, and they're hustling, and they're making small payments to me weekly. I have payment plan, and it's at your own pace. But so when you're saying it's way too high, I would disagree with you on that, because is it cheap? No, but it's 12 weeks long minimum, and if you spread that over 3 months, it's actually not that expensive at all. It's cheaper than anybody else that's even offering a course. And mine's mentorship, one-on-one. It's not a course. So no, it's really not, actually. Is it a $500 program? No. Let's see here. Yeah, 48% utilization. Yeah, and it just depends also what trade line, if it's a revolving, what type of credit line it is too. Even if you had a 20%, there's just too many variables. It's not like personal credit. There's too many variables. Depends what's being already reported. How many trade lines? How many small business financial exchange trades are there? How many standard, like mixed trades, like net 30 packaging, business services? How many actual credit lines, commercial cards, lines of credit? If you have a mix of those, then utilization really doesn't matter. But of course, you don't want to max, like if you have 20 trade lines reporting and they're all revolving mixed, like all mixed different ones, you don't want to max all those out. Then that will hurt you. Um, but you do want to show some utilization. But maybe that's a good rule of thumb, game master, where just keep it broad, no more than 50%. But yeah, don't ever pay late on business credit trade lines or credit lines, but don't pay too early. My rule of thumb is pay it 3 to 5 business days early from the time that the invoice due date is, but make sure there's not a weekend involved between those 3 to 5 days. So it's due say on a Friday, then pay it on a Monday or Tuesday. Make sure it gets enough time, like depending on how you paid it too. If it's bank, ACH, give it, you want it to hit their bank account or their system at least 3 days before the due date. But you also don't want to pay it 2 weeks early, because if you pay it 2 weeks early, sometimes that can result in not reporting, and it's treated as like in their accounting system as a prepaid account. And you're not going to get benefit on that reporting for that particular payment. There's Robert here. I mean, he's been a student of mine since I launched a new one-on-one business credit mentorship, I think since like January or February when I launched the client portal. Before I did everything by phone, Zoom, and email, text. But since this year, January, I've put everything into a client portal to make it easier for me and the students and get a lot more done a lot quicker, and then have everything's kind of recorded, record for you to go back and look at. But um, it definitely cost him some money, quite a bit, for my mentorship. But he's saying here, 100% recommended for personal experience, and he hasn't actually put himself really dedicated himself to the fullest potential. He can get so much business credit. And we're talking about that, working on that actually earlier today. I sent him a text about that. Yeah. So yeah. Lewis almost went for Credit Suite. Yep. Yeah. Game Master, I will start doing that again, the credit safe profiles, because credit safe is actually becoming super important now, because it actually is used by a lot of underwriters in 2024 as a secondary identity check to do secondary checks, because credit safe has actually invested so much money. Every year they're putting more and more money. They're almost like a mini LexisNexis on secondary data, because they're spending millions and millions of dollars nonstop buying the data that Experian and other bureaus don't buy. They only buy what they need, but Credit Safe is actually, that's how they're leveraging. They're getting a lot of that data and being able to provide it to the bureau. So like Experian also and other underwriters are using Credit Safe as a secondary data check to make decisions. Samsung financing, yeah, that, and Samsung financing, that's going to be that comes down to Experian. The Samsung 100% is looking at Experian, but they are also going to be looking at well, there's 2 underwriters for Samsung, depending on I don't know which one you applied for, because they have a credit line one to resell, or they have a net 30. So it depends which one. I don't know which one, because there's 2 different underwriters. But it's going to be Dun & Bradstreet or it's going to be Experian. So depending on which one you're trying to go after. Scores are more for ego. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like I said, stay away from getting hung up on scores. Like if that's your focus, you're going to fail. I can tell you that right now. Focus on building solid business credit up, not the scores. Who cares about the scores? I don't pay attention to scores. Unless like some score just like dropped big time because of something that was late, then that's a factor. Yeah, that's a big problem. But as long as you're paying things on time, don't worry about the scores. They will bounce around. They can literally change daily depending on what's getting updated and changed. Robert says, thanks for the text today, Josh. I needed to hear that. Much appreciated. Exactly. I'll stay on top of you. No slackers in my mentorship. Some of my students, they tend to slack after they get some approvals or they think they're okay. But then if I go a couple weeks and I don't hear from you and you're not doing your tasks, I'm going to get on top of you. What is key personal? I don't know what you mean by that. Fund on up. Business fund on up. Business funding. Thanks for tuning in. What is key personnel? On Experian, on the rich filmographic data, a lot of business credit reports, they don't actually have the key personnel listed because they don't want to provide the business owner's name. You have to provide that to Experian, or say Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, or CreditSafe. But a majority of the time, you need to focus the most, like I said, on an Experian. But you list key personnel, like it could be even a manager, it could be your business partner. The more, the better to a certain extent. It could be like I have a plastic surgeon, right? Cosmetic plastic surgeon, student of mine. He's a doctor, but then he has he's listed as the member of the LLC, CEO on Experian. But then below that, we had him list, because I said it's best to list more than one. So he listed his wife. She's like secretary. So she's just put down as manager, listed on the Experian report. And then one of his nurses, which is she's like kind of like the operations manager, but she's a nurse. She's listed as like operations manager. So all those things do play a role to a certain degree in getting approvals. Like I said, the more rich filmographic data you have on the bureau's data is going to increase your chances for approval. And a lot of this, the rich filmographic data is always going to be bare because it always comes from just the business name, address, registered agent, and when the business was formed. That's the basic data that LexisNexis gets from the Secretary of State. And then they're going to sell that to the business credit bureaus. That's how it's established. So a lot of time, even industry codes are wrong, and there's no phone number, web address, email address. That's what rich filmographic data is. And that's very important, but you won't find one other YouTube channel talking about rich filmographic data, only me. That's one of the reasons, Experian, reached out to me, and because I talk about that, and they're like, did you used to work for us? No, I never worked for Experian, but it's one of those things that I've studied. And like I said, I look at both sides. I'm not just looking at how to build business credit. I'm looking on the bureau side, how they factor in scores and what they're looking at, how they sell their data to their customers. And then as well as if I'm the underwriter, what I'm looking at. So when you compile all that together from those three different perspectives, it helps you kind of understand things a little bit more to leverage yourself to give the best chances for approval. Because I've seen it so many times. Some of my students, they come to me, they start the mentorship and they have 10 trade lines and they think everything's great, but they get denied. Business information is unable to be verified. Synchrony, no Sam's Club, no PG Sam's Club Business MasterCard. Their scores are good. They've been established. They got trade lines. Everything's good, but then they lack rich filmographic data. And then their reason, the denial letter from Synchrony, is the business information is unverifiable. Something to that. There's like three different words they give you, or denial reasons, but it usually always comes down to something isn't able to be verified, or something's not matching. And that comes down to the secondary databases that I always talk about, and as well as the rich filmographic data. So if you know you're going to apply for something, say something that's going to pull Experian, then make sure that everything's good there on the Experian report, especially that rich filmographic data. So people want to apply first and then address things later. It's better to know what the underwriter is looking for that, say, BP, Business MasterCard, gas card. What fleet card, the underwriter, what are they looking at? Who are they pulling? So if you know that information ahead of time, don't apply if you're not ready for it or you don't have the ideal situation on your report for who they're going to be polling. Just because you have high scores or good scores doesn't mean anything. Like I said, I can't stress it enough. Yes, exactly, Lois. It takes money to make money. Investing in your business's future. Exactly. I couldn't have said it better. To the first time people looking for mentorship, I can say, Tess, don't worry much about the price. Josh will work with you. Serious learning. Yeah, if you're serious about changing and building business credit, it's not always about the money. It really isn't about money. Gregory has had, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but he's had not the easiest situation where he's at a Paul's mentorship and, you know, uh, not because I'm demanding money in payments. It's because, he can't pay for certain things or something at certain periods of times. But I've been working with him like on and off for about a year now. But, I'm willing to work with anybody if you're not going to waste my time. That's really what it comes down to. I'm here to help. Lewis said, I did my first task in an hour. Yeah, you did. You're a Speedy Gonzalez on all those tasks. Yeah, so if you're trying to get a tablet for your business, then I wouldn't even try to get one that with Samsung. They don't want to deal with people that's trying to get such little amount. The Samsung financing really is for people that are going to spend like 10,000 or more. It's downstairs, but my 100-inch Samsung screen the touch screen that I would show the business credit reports and show you guys. I have my other one here, my 65-inch Vibe next to me here, but my 100-inch Samsung's downstairs, so heavy. I'm up on the third floor, so that's why it's not up here. But that one, I would say, like it's literally like almost like 260 pounds. But I got that through Samsung, and that was like $8,500. But I got approved initially for 35,000 with Samsung. But I got approved for that like 7 months in. I made a video about it back like in 2021 or 2022. And then other people copy, like a lot of the videos I put out about certain airlines, Dell or um, these different gas cards and whatnot. You can see most of them I was the first if you look at the date. And then you see all these other channels like a week later or 2 days later put out the same video about the same credit line. But then they don't tell you the details like I share. I don't mind people putting out the same content, copying off of me, but don't pick and choose the data points. Like if you're going to put it to your audience, at least like put out the right data points. Don't skip over like, oh, it reports to all the business credit bureaus. But really, I told you that it only reports to Dun and Bradstreet or Experian, but then they take my content and they say it reports to all 4 bureaus or something. Or I say, they're going to be pulling Equifax, and then they will make the video, and then they say they're going to pull Dun and Bradstreet. It just gets mixed information, and that's because they're not putting the dedication into sharing the correct information as well. So I wanted this video wanted to cover a lot more, and there's a lot of viewers. I think this is the most I've had active in probably over a year or two. This many. Usually it's only like 25 or so, but we have like about 40 people in here right now. I don't want to take up to any more of you guys' time, but put a number 2 if you want to see number 2 live, like not now, but put it in the live chat if you guys want me to do another one of these and expand on things in more detail. Like if you guys enjoyed this live, put number 2, and then I'll work on maybe Monday to release another one. And I'll try to structure a little bit more. I know you have to excuse me. That's one thing about me. I don't have the greatest speech because of my Parkinson's and my ADHD. So I tend to jump kind of all over the place, but it's like in my brain, things are going left and right, and I'm trying to get so much out. But anyways, that's one of the reasons why I did, like, put this together. Um, you know, it took me a long time to put it together, and it's planned for a different video, but I'll try to start structuring like a slides to basically just break down, say, just about Experian, and I'll put snapshots of some of my students' reports. As long as they don't mind, I share it. Of course, I'm going to cover up their personal information, but I'll try to break things down to make it kind of more easier to understand, because I know a lot of this can be what's common sense and easy for me to understand is not so much for anybody else. And sometimes I forget that. So I apologize in advance if that's what you take away from it, but I'll try to structure things better. But yeah, anyways, like I said, I appreciate it. And I think that's all the comments. But if anybody's interested in the mentorship, just text me. I have to look at my phone here. I think there's already several texts that came through, but I'll answer those. But if you are interested for more information or free consultation, just text the number there. Let me get rid of this. 937-423-9954. That's my personal cell phone number. Just text me. Don't call, because it is my personal cell phone number. I just remembered, Gregory, you were asking about like the tablet. So for something like that, you want to go through T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon, you can get that. It's very easy. The requirements are so easy to get, and they actually will report to Experian. And if you do that under equipment leasing, it'll report like $7,500 a month, and the prices aren't very bad at all if you're trying to get, like, say, an iPad or a Samsung tablet. Several of my students, they do that. That's a good trade line to get, and it's easy to get. Even a brand new business can get those with just having a nav reporting. It's not that hard to get at all. So yeah, I'll do another part 2 for sure. I appreciate all you guys here, especially you guys are all still here. Give the video a thumbs up. Check that again. Give it a like or whatever. I appreciate it. And make sure you're subscribed if you're not already a subscriber. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. That's the only way I can kind of gauge if I should put out more frequent content. Like, I don't want to waste my time putting the content out if, there's not going to be a lot of views, and it's not about views. I just want to help people, but also I'm not trying to, spend 6 hours putting together content and put something out there, and it not benefit very many people. I am trying to spread and clear the air of all that bad information that keeps on being put out there over the years from people that don't know what they're talking about, that think they're a business credit expert. But anyways, I appreciate the time that you guys spend with me. It's over 2 hours. I think this is the longest live I've done in probably 2 years or more. But Lois, you said you got your iPad on your regular account, on your personal. If so, we can get that reported as a business trade line, and we'll get into that down the line in the mentorship. That's why I had everybody do eCredible signing up, with my link. Everything's a strategic move. Everything that I'm going to assign to you and have you do, there's a reason for it. You may not understand why I'm having you do it week 1 or week 2, but you will down the line. Maybe week 7, you'll be like, oh, now I know why Josh had me do that week 1 or week 2. It will all start to make sense. And anybody that's in my mentorship, if you're dedicated, after about 90 days, you're going to be more of an expert on business credit than pretty much 95% of anybody on YouTube talking about business credit. So anyways, with all that being said, you guys take care. I appreciate it. And I'm going to do my best to do a live on Monday, this coming Monday. And I'll do like a 24-hour notice where I put it out there where everyone knows, like a trailer and stuff, and structure it a little bit better. So it won't take as long, but we'll cover all the information and I won't ramble as much. So I apologize for that. That's why I kind of need to structure things into a presentation slide so I don't get too kind of off topic. Anyways, I appreciate all you guys' time, and you guys have the great rest of your evening, whatever time it is for you. For me, it is 12 noon here, Philippine time. So I'll be up for several more hours. So if you are interested, it's not too late for you. You want to do a consultation or something, just to reach out to me. But it is going to be in order to receive. But I will at least reach back out to you if you do text me. I'll let you know, hey, tonight or tomorrow we can schedule something. But I'll at least definitely respond to you tonight if you reach out. If you're watching this as a replay, it's fine too. Just reach out, but the spots are limited. But see what we can do, okay? Anyways, you guys take that advice to your heart. Regardless, like I said, I barely even covered about joining the mentorship. This was more about just trying to understand business credit. So regardless if you're going to join the mentorship or not, and you're trying to build business credit, take the advice and watch some of my older videos and some of my older lives, like in 2021, 2022. That's where I covered things so much that are like the hidden gems. Also, go on my YouTube channel and look under all videos for just my channel, and then it'll say popular and latest and oldest. Click the popular, click that, and then scroll to the very bottom. The ones that actually have the lowest views are the videos that have the best information. Honestly, people don't want to hear the boring stuff. They just want a $10,000 approval, $20,000 Best Buy card or whatever. I cover that in the videos, but it takes the boring videos to get those approvals, if that makes any sense. And a lot of people don't want to take the time to watch those boring videos, but it takes doing what I'm telling you in the boring videos to have the low view count to get those good approvals. Again, it's all just trying to see through the cracks of the underwriter to understand how, like, if there's a pothole or something in the algorithm of an underwriter, why not take advantage of it if you can? I'm not saying like do anything illegal or anything, but if there's a weakness in it and you're not intentionally going to defraud them, then take advantage of it. Why not? Have it work towards you. Anyways, with all that being said, you guys take care. I appreciate again for you guys tuning in. Again, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe and hit all notifications if you're not already a subscriber. And then there's a number at the bottom. Text that toll-free number too. I don't know it off the top of my head, but text that if you want to be alerted for future lives when I release videos and lives, because not always YouTube doesn't always send it out to everybody. So I have a text service that you'll get a automated text message whenever I go live. You'll be alerted, and it will include the link. It's a toll-free number. I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's in the description. But not the 937 number. The 937 number is my personal cell phone. But anyways, with all this being said, you guys take care and appreciate it. Like I said, for the third time, bye-bye. Have a good rest of your night. Till next time. Bye-bye.